237, but he has a 7'6" wingspan. Oh! That's a man's jam! Jason Tatum!
What's going on, dudes and dudettes? Did a little bit of haircut on the side myself, not too shabby. So yes, when it comes to USC football, a lot of these incoming guys, I forgot when this was mentioned, that a freshman, who is a freshman now going into his his sophomore year, Aaron White from SoCal down here committed to USC. I believe I talked about it, but I didn't know how awesome and great this guy was because I recently saw what Max Preps put out, like a highlight video. I believe it was them or someone did a highlight video of his first year in high school, and the guy is a crazy lockdown, very tall corner. He almost looks like he could be a first or second round pick this year just based off his measurables. I mean, and he was very productive his first year as a freshman in high school, so definitely very happy that USC has this commitment as of right now. Hopefully it will stay. Hopefully he didn't commit just for like Dante Williams, as a lot of these guys do for their position. But yes, hopefully it wasn't just that coach, but yes, he looks like he's going to be pretty badass for USC in the future. Then when it comes to the Chargers in USC football, apparently one of these analysts said that Drake London out of USC would be a perfect fit, or the best fit, if he went to the LA Chargers in the first round. I think that would be pretty awesome to have a dynamic type of guy like him who can play inside, outside with his size. Could be a tight end for you or an outside wide receiver. Problem is he does get a little bit hurt with the way he plays, as he is hurt right now, but I don't think he's actually going to make it out of the top 10, in my opinion, when the draft comes in April. But yeah, it would be pretty awesome if the Chargers were to draft a Chargers were to draft a Trojan in the first round. It would be pretty cool. Now, a lot of crap came out of All-Star Weekend with LeBron James's comments about the team and everything like that, but apparently with all these rumors going around that LeBron still wants to stay in LA, it's kind of pretty much based on if the general manager, owner, everyone else can make up these new trades or get other players for him in the near future so that he will be willing to stay with the team and finish out the rest of his contract, or even add, because I think after this season, it's his last season with the Lakers, so he might be extension eligible this summer, but he might not sign an extension if the Lakers don't make a pretty big move to get him some more guys next season. So, I mean, there are tensions between him, not only him, but with the general manager, Rob Pelinka, as well, and I think Rich Paul, LeBron's, guys, having tensions with Pelinka as well. So, I don't know, a lot of agents and all this other stuff getting upset at the Lakers and everything like that, where they could have made a move at the All-Star break. And I think LeBron now kind of admits that he did make a mistake. He hasn't publicly said it, but with the idea of what Houston was offering, he might have wanted that deal done so he can try to fix his, messed up situation as soon as possible. But I don't know, the Lakers didn't pull the trigger. And a lot of people are saying too, does LeBron have more power than Kobe once did while he was on the Lakers? So you never know. He probably does, because he is LeBron James. I think he'd rather stick with him for the rest of whatever is of his left of his career instead of trading him and getting whatever you can for him and future draft picks that won't help you right away, Then when it comes to Duke, yes, they avenged their recent loss against Virginia. They went on the road up to Virginia and got that victory. It was always a slugfest up there, a very low scoring game, but it was 65-61. AJ Griffin, the freshman, stepped up as he had to because Paolo Moncaro, the more talented freshman, supposedly did not step up. He had a pretty bad shooting game, but overall, very glad that Griffin did that for Duke, and they're going into this weekend for another victory as well, hopefully. So yeah, pretty tough stretch for them. And speaking of another Duke Blue Devil, yes, my boy, Grayson Allen, who's in the NBA right now, but recently proposed to his longtime girlfriend, Morgan Reed, I believe her name is. And I forget who she played soccer for. I know she played collegiate soccer as well. So she is an athlete like him. And they recently got engaged, so congrats to them. All nothing but positive vibes for you, buddy. And then Malik Monk of the Lakers recently said a statement that he wants to stay with the Lakers, and hopefully long term is what he means by he wants to stay with the Lakers. They did get him at a pretty nice deal this offseason, but they do want to keep him around. They might have to fork up a little bit more money, but it is easier to re-sign a player and doesn't hurt your books as much as it would be to sign outside free agent. So maybe that could happen this offseason. Then USC football added a new senior offensive analyst. He's coming from the NFL. He actually is coming from old USC head coach Pete Carroll's team, the Seattle Seahawks. So I don't know why he's stepping down technically, but maybe he just couldn't get a job somewhere else. But his name is Will Harriger. So I don't really know much of what position he does, if it's quarterback, running backs, linemen, receivers, but I guess he's going to be part of what the offense is doing, and we'll see what he can contribute. Hopefully it's some good stuff. Then safety at a UCLA is a 4-star who was actually once committed to USC when he decommitted from Stanford, but he ended up going to UCLA in the end with Josh Moore. But recently, the other day, he did enter the transfer portal, so maybe he might be looking to jump ship back to the team he's supposed to be on. But if not, he might go up to our rival in Stanford, and we'll see him every second week of the season, because for some reason, because both USC and Stanford play Notre Dame, somehow that means USC and Stanford have to play on week 2, even though they play Notre Dame on different times. So I don't get that BS, because I'd rather face Stanford sometimes later in the season. So they got to fix that BS, in my opinion. Then when it comes to USC, you know what? Going a little too fast. Troy Aikman, who is obviously the Fox main play-by-play guy on their games of the week or Super Bowls, I guess his contract might be up, and ESPN might be looking to poach him because they probably want him for their Monday Night Football team. But I know they have a trio right now for Monday Night Football, but they might give that up because I believe Al Michaels, who is with NBC, is now, his contract's up. He doesn't want to retire. So maybe ESPN might be looking to pair those two up on Monday Night Football for the next coming years. However long their contracts will go, at least 5 to 10 years, which would be pretty awesome to have the mixture of those two guys. Be pretty cool to see. Definitely make, those crappier Monday Night Football matchups a little bit more exciting. But yeah, pretty big shakeup on the play-by-play side. Then USC basketball. Yes, once I saw this game, it was a pretty close game, but I'm like, last night, yeah, USC might get this win because it's just Oregon State. But of course, it had to go into double overtime. But yes, luckily USC did get that victory, 94-91 last night. Didn't really check the highlights right now. I will get the highlights after I make this video. But yes, overall, it's a pretty good victory, and I think they got Oregon coming up after this because they usually play the two schools from the same area. So hopefully they get a victory there as well. And even they had a crazy stat that over the last 3 seasons for USC, their record is 70-21. They're even 23-4 or 24-3 right now this year. So they have been slowly but steady becoming a pretty good team and pretty good program, and obviously getting a lot of good guys and getting guys drafted high like Onyeka Okongwu, Evan Mobley as well. So very happy for the success of USC basketball, because once I became a USC fan, especially of their football in the early 2000s, the basketball team wasn't really talked about as much, but I'm glad they're coming along. And then speaking of USC guys, DeRozan, the NBA kind of picked up, I believe it was yesterday, Thursday, finally, after the All-Star break, and DeRozan himself once again had his, let me get this correct, he's the 7th player in NBA history with 8 straight games of 35 points, which is pretty good because a couple of Lakers are on that list as well, and Kobe Bryant and LeBron James. I think, Jordan's on there as well, so pretty nice list. He's definitely a lot better than advertised, was definitely the better player that the Lakers should have gotten this offseason instead of Russell Westbrook, and you could have gotten him for way cheaper than what you're paying Westbrook this year and next year. Once again, another big BS move that the general manager and team made, but you got to deal with it now. Speaking of DeRozan and actually Anthony Davis, so some executive anonymously said that the Lakers should trade Anthony Davis to Chicago, which is his hometown, because maybe LeBron has gotten tired of all these injuries and stuff from Anthony Davis, so at least he gets to go back to his home. But you actually get the guy you were supposed to get in DeMar DeRozan, who might only be on contract for 2 more seasons after this, which ain't pretty bad at all. But then you could also get another good young player in a Kobe White, who is a point guard, and I think he'll be in his 3rd season around that time. He's progressively getting better. I liked him coming out of North Carolina, which is sacrilegious for me to say, but yes, he was one of the better players that they've had in a recent history. And then also you could get, or maybe switch off this guy in Patrick Williams, who might be the better player of those 2 younger guys, who's only going into his 2nd year out of Florida State. But it sucks that you haven't really gotten to see what he could do because he has been injured. But overall, he does look like one of those better, talented young 3-and-D defensive wing players. So maybe getting him and DeRozan to pair up with LeBron in the near future will be a lot better than him and Kobe White. But you could also add a couple other players too. Maybe add in a couple other Lakers and get another player in return instead of asking for draft picks, because the Lakers need players that can play now instead of guys in the future. So yeah, that's a pretty good, interesting trade that the executive put out there, but you never know what the Lakers are going to plan this offseason, so it should be very interesting with only like 25 games left in the season for them. And then to finish off with some miscellaneous news, yes, some of my favorite bands growing up are going on concert. They did do this concert in Canada because that is where they're from, both Sum 41 and Simple Plan, but they are bringing it to North America I think it's this summer, so like around August or something like that. I forget the date. But yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I've never seen both of them live before. It'll be their first time touring together as well, which they were surprised they hadn't done a tour yet so far. And last year, because it got pushed back from a year or 2 ago, I was supposed to see You Found Glory in Simple Plan. It was the first time they've ever toured, but they did not because of COVID and stuff, and I didn't want to go to the most recent rescheduling because Simple Plan was not going to be there, which sucked. So hopefully and maybe everything goes good these next couple of months and we'll be able to see them in the near future, but you never know. All this crap going on in the world. Hopefully everybody's safe out there and get through this. A bunch of crap, but yeah, we got to deal with it, I guess. So thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Bye, Don.